Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. We have everybody's favorite sports talk show host. His name is AP Steadham. He's been with us a long time. AP, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Donna, so grateful for being on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're tickled to have you. And also, he has another show that airs here on Friday, Football Friday at 4. And that's AP and Kelly, as we see it.
Football Friday, 4 p.m. Central on the IC Radio Network. We love it.
We're tickled. Well, a lot of stuff's beginning to happen now. We're hearing a little bit of chatter out there about football.
Yeah, Donna, it's interesting. You know, the SEC, we had those meetings in Destin, Florida. So that was all the athletic directors in the football, men's basketball, women's basketball, presidents. So, but Donnie, we have these two teams coming into the Southeastern Conference, Texas and Oklahoma. So you have to rearrange that schedule. So next year, when they're part of the SEC, they're going to be an announcement Wednesday. We'll have known some of this information. Wednesday will be the 8-game schedule for 1 year, 8-game schedule, league schedule. So they're going to make that announcement this week. So that'll be interesting to see what rivalries are maintained and then what new opponents you might play. So Texas and Oklahoma coming on board 2024. And the SEC chose to just remain with the 8 games at this present time for the 23 season and the 24th season when Oklahoma and Texas arrive. And then moving forward, I'm thinking it's going to be the 9 games, Donna. Maybe they'll have a format of 6 teams where they rotate and maybe 3 permanent rivals, or maybe 1 permanent rival and you rotate 2 out of the 3. I mean, there's all kind of options as far as the schedule, but it'll be fun. And Donna, people adapt. I mean, they may not be happy with some of the matchups down the road in the future, but they'll adapt and you'll get a chance. A player should get a chance, Donna, in the 4-year period, if they stay on campus, to be home and away with every team. I think it's a 4-year rotation. So that's good.
Yeah, that's good. And we do, we'll fuss and gripe and complain, carry on and everything else, but we always adjust.
Yeah, right. So it's going to be a lot of fun to have those 2 teams come over. They're big brands. In other words, Oklahoma, Donna, as we know, it's not a big state. Right, it's not a very big state population, but it's a big brand. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we know Texas is big, but don't tell the people of Alaska, because I think Texas fits in there a couple of times, right?
Yeah, don't tell them, because I'm married to a Texan. They're proud.
Right. So he knows exactly. Texas is big. We know that, and they're trying to rebuild that program. And Oklahoma is in a rebuilding phase as well. So it's kind of interesting that the SEC, normally those 2 teams are top 15, top 20 teams, top 5, whatever it may be in certain years, but they're really in the rebuilding phase at this time. So look for an uptick. Maybe the recruiting gets a little bit better coming over to the SEC. Maybe they have more players, especially on the defensive and offensive lines. You've got to be above average, Donna, at that position, because you have to protect your quarterback. As we know, if you don't protect the quarterback, it affects everybody.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. So let's talk a little bit about the brand. What makes some team a big brand?
Right. I'll just work from speaking about Oklahoma first, because, as we said, not a populated state, but they had success over time, Donna. Mm-hmm. So generations have grown up thinking about, Oklahoma, they have a good football team. Mm-hmm. We know they have the good softball. They've been winning softball championships forever. Mm-hmm. They just recently won the college softball championship, national championship. But football, they've been good way back into the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way through this century as well. Mm-hmm. So the brand, over time, even though you're not a populated state, you can branch out, because there's other states down that don't have, let's say, a big-time football program. So somebody could say, hey, I'm going to adopt Oklahoma as my team. Mm-hmm. And then you have the state of Texas, a big populated state. Over 1,000 high schools play football, I believe, and they've been good through the years. They've struggled recently, but they've had their moments in the sunshine and been national champions. So when you think of Texas, you think of high school football.
Mm-hmm.
You have great ball players, because everybody recruits the state of Texas. Now the SEC, half the SEC, or if not more, is going to be searching Texas for ball players. So they have a chance to come in here and do some spectacular things. But it's all dependent, Donna, on the leadership. As we know, you have to have good leadership at the top, because that's the person that can recruit and develop the players and hire the good assistants on his staff, her staff, that can coach the players, because the head coach can't do everything down.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to have good people in place on your staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that makes everything a success, a business and what have you. But so it sounds like you're saying that it's either population or is going to be, I mean, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. It really does.
Yeah, when you think of Texas, you're the University of Texas football coach. Over 1,000 high schools are in your state. You're the flagship university. If you can't field the football team with 1,000 high schools, then the wrong person is in charge. And then Oklahoma is right next door. Okay, they border Texas, so they come over all the time. Even if they get 5 to 10 players out of Dallas, they're going to have a good football team at Oklahoma, and that's been the standard at Oklahoma. Usually, and maybe half the team was from Texas. And so they want to go back to their home state and beat Texas every year in that great rivalry that is played in October during the time when they have the Texas State Fair in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. So what is the most recruited state? Is it Texas?
Yeah, Texas is one. There's Florida, Texas, California.
Uh-huh.
And then the ones below that, I say Ohio has quite a few players, in Pennsylvania. And then a place who's one of the greatest places to recruit ball players per capita is Louisiana.
Okay, that's surprising. I would have thought you would have said Alabama. I guess because we've had, been number one out there so much.
Yeah, Alabama's there, but I think Louisiana is ahead of Alabama, Donna. They have a tremendous amount of players in that state that not only play for LSU, but quite a few teams are in. Alabama recruits over there, and Ole Miss, and Texas comes over there once in a while. Florida State is looking down that I-10 corridor and around New Orleans and other parts of the state. So, yeah, Louisiana, they have beaucoup amount of players per capita.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Alabama, I mean, and so then there's a difference between recruiting and then who has the winningest team. Who's been in number one? Alabama, you got to say the Roll Tiders right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Alabama's a school, Donna, that, they had championships in the 20s, 30s, I think maybe in the 40s, some polls, 60s, 70s, 90s, and this century, both decades. So that's quite an extended period of time to have a national champion. There's not a school that can make that claim.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a place like Notre Dame. Notre Dame, their last championship down in 1988.
Oh wow! I thought it was
That's a while. That's been a while, right, for Notre Dame.
Uh-huh. So do you see them emerging? Do you see them emerging in the next couple of years?
I think they have a defensive coordinator who became the head coach. Marcus Freeman played at Ohio State. I think he has a good nucleus. He's bringing in a quarterback from Wake Forest, Sam Hartman. He's thrown for probably over 10,000 yards already in his college career. So I think that's probably an upgrade for them on offense. And we all know that if you can have a good offense to keep the other team's offense off the field, that helps your defense. And Notre Dame, I think with Brian Kelly, when he was there, he was at LSU his very first year last year. He's a Hall of Fame coach before he arrived at LSU. He was on the verge of building a championship team. He made the playoffs a couple times. I think they just needed a little more speed on the perimeter to compete. But Notre Dame, they're not very far away. I don't think. It just depends on the speed. You got to get the speed to contend with all these other top teams.
Mm-hmm. Michael sent an email. By the way, if you have any questions for AP, you can go ahead and send an email my way, donna@donnasedge.com. And so Michael had a question about, and I wanted to get into the emerging of teams because we saw this happening with Tennessee. You and I saw that.
Yes.
So his question about that was about, he's a Tennessee fan. He's glad to see that we speak often of Tennessee and their success. So his question is, why does it take so long for some teams to emerge, and then some teams seem to do it overnight? What's the compass there?
Right, Donna, it's the leadership at the top. You saw where Tennessee had a number of coaches through the years. Mm-hmm. Josh Heupel arrived from Central Florida, along with his athletic director, White, and people kind of made fun of that situation because they hired a search firm, I think, and what he essentially did was he walked down to the hallway because he was the athletic director at Central Florida. Josh Heupel was the coach, and he hired him. And he's been very successful thus far, and he's on the rise. And, his goal is, of course, to challenge Georgia. Georgia's the two-time defending national champion, also in the SEC East. But they're going to get rid of those divisions anyway. But he's got a fantastic offensive mind and philosophy that he's implemented at Tennessee. So they're able to score a lot of points because they have, and as your guest, and your audience member noted, who would be recognized that Tennessee has been deficient on the defensive side, but now he's rejuvenated that offense where they can contend with anybody. So that's a good start. In this era of football, a lot of points are scored than, let's say, 20 years ago. You must have an above-average quarterback, and we see Joe Milton. He's transferred from Michigan. This is his third year. Excellent bowl game against Michigan. Against Clemson, I'm sorry. And so he's looking forward to an outstanding season. So I actually spoke to Josh Heupel about it down in Destin. So, they realize they got to get better on defense, offensively, and get people to catch the football because they're going to get an opportunity with that type of offense. They spread the ball around.
Mm-hmm. Nikki has a question for you, and this pertains to Joe Namath. And she said she's always been a huge Joe Namath fan, but she wants to know your opinion. Was he so famous because he knew how to market himself, or because he was really that talented?
A little bit of both, I think. Joe was a tremendous talent. When he arrived at the University of Alabama, Coach Bryant said he was the best athlete he ever coached at that time. And, of course, Joe is famous for the quick release. And then if you think about it, he's been marketed over 50 years, Donna. Mm-hmm. He just turned 80 years old.
Well, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
Recently, right.
80.
Yeah, so think about it. He's been on the television promoting products since around 65. So that's almost getting to be 60 years, right? Almost. Uh-huh. So that's the longest. It has to be in television. I don't know anybody who's been on TV promoting and marketing products and services for almost 60 years. It's got to be the longest. And it's from the game of football, and he played at the University of Alabama. So I think that's pretty interesting.
I think it is too. Still has fans out there. And she said to Peggy she's only 25 years old.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing. Yeah.
So that's amazing that he still has that following with the young people, kind of like Elvis in music.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Joe is very popular. He's if you get a chance to meet him, he's friendly and engaging. And you should tell her to, if she can watch the HBO special. I was part of that documentary in some small degree, but a very good story. It was told in that documentary about Joe Namath.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's her part B question. So she's apparently been a long time listener to this show and to you. And so she said she had heard that you had interviewed him before. So let's go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. Hang in there, y'all. Lots about Joe Namath today. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Good afternoon. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's local to the North Alabama part, and then worldwide syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast, netsnewsnetwork.net. Joe Namath seems to have hijacked the show today. So Nikki is a huge fan, and so she wants to know, because she has watched you on the show several times, she wants to know what he was like to interview.
Yeah, Joe's been doing interviews for 60 plus years, and he's very friendly, he's personable, and he has extended answers to your questions. And I've always enjoyed him. He's always been one of my favorite, I grew up watching Joe Namath and Kenny Stabler, because Kenny was from Foley, and of course my dad was from around this area as well. And so I always knew about Kenny Stabler, and we became New York Jets fans because of Joe Namath. We knew about him before anybody in our part of the country. We heard about him at Alabama and watched him, and then he came to the New York Jets. So that's why we were New York Jets fans. But yeah, Joe he's a lot of fun, and he enjoys the interview. Okay. Some players, it's kind of like, it's difficult after you ask them the question. Their answers are short and not very long, but Joe actually makes it fun to do the interview.
Mm-hmm. I always wondered why he didn't get into politics.
Yeah, I don't think Joe was a person that ever wanted to be in politics. No, he's a sport, but not that sport.
Yeah, that would be quite the sport. A lot of players do. They get right in it,
They do. Yeah, they do. Sure do. Yeah, I've had, for instance, Heath Schuler, the former University of Tennessee quarterback. He's from North Carolina, Western North Carolina, and he became a congressman, I think, for 3 terms, I believe.
Mm-hmm. AP Steadham is with us right now, also host of As We See It with AP and Kelly. So what's going on this week with that show?
Yeah, one of the topics we're going to discuss is Texas A&M, Donna. We're trying to go through a couple teams each week leading up to the season. And this week we're going to discuss Texas A&M with Olin Buchanan. He's been covering A&M for decades. And then we're probably going to delve into looking at LSU, maybe to get somebody to speak about LSU, because they defeated Alabama and won the SEC West in Brian Kelly's first division. So we're trying to go through all the teams. I think we've discussed probably 6 to 8 so far in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So we still have there's 14 teams, so we still have a half dozen or so to discuss in the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Now, by the way, if you would like to send a question to AP, if you'll send it to my email, that would be great. And I need to forward those on to you. See, AP has no idea what questions are going to be asked. So he's right on target. He has it. So you can send that to Donna at donnasedge.com. Most of the questions this week have been, what do you think about our regular ones? Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah,
Clemson's in there too.
Yeah, Clemson always finds its way into the picture. They're more like an SEC team because of their physicality on the offensive and defensive lines. But Alabama and Auburn, they're both going to be searching for the starting quarterback. So it's vitally important. Normally a team, Donna, well, not normally, but sometimes the team has the luxury of playing, let's say 2 or 3 games where you can opt out with a couple of different quarterbacks in the game and see who performs the best. But Alabama's got that second game against the University of Texas, who's going to come to town, I think, for the first time in about 100 years, or in the state of Alabama, to play the Crimson Tide. They have a host of receivers, very good, excellent quarterbacks, depth on that team. They can score a lot of points. So Alabama, they're going to have to find out pretty quick about their quarterback situation. Maybe, I don't know, they might have to use a couple of quarterbacks the first 2 games, Donna, because maybe nobody's going to be a clear-cut winner of the position. But that's something to look forward to with anticipation. I know Nick Saban, as most coaches, he probably won't announce the starting quarterback. The opening game, they'll probably just trot out to the huddle, and then that's where you find out who will be the leader of the team. And then
Yeah,
Auburn
that
is the
sounds
thing.
kind of like it could be an issue. It sounds like Saban's
Could,
not really sure yet.
could be an issue with that. We don't know. I mean, you got the transfer from Notre Dame, Tyler Buckner, and then we have the transfer from Michigan State to Auburn. So both teams are entertaining quarterbacks that played in the Midwest, cold weather, and they're trying to see if they fit into the system. So Alabama and Auburn both are essentially in the same position with regards to the quarterback. And so I know that makes both fan bases uneasy,
Mhm.
to say the least.
There's a
To say
little
the least,
unrest
right?
going on there. A little
Yeah,
unrest.
yeah, because you don't know who your leader. You don't know your leader at this point.
Mhm.
And we all know that in this quarterback-centric era, you better have somebody, as I always say, above average, because it's very difficult to win, let's say, above 8 games without your quarterback being very good.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it sounds like it's almost a toss-up this coming season. He's going to be
Well,
up in the top 5.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Alabama has the better overall talent. There's no question. But we all know the game is played on the field. It's not played on the piece of paper, judging talent. It's all on the field and how you play that day, and then who's healthy, and then who's adapted throughout the course of the season to be a better football team. But Auburn, they're gonna challenge some people. They'll probably surprise some people on a given Saturday, because Hugh Freeze, he's a very good offensive coach, and he's rallying his team, and he brought in some transfers. He upgraded, I think, the offensive line for sure. And I think at the wide receiver position, those are 2 areas that were lacking with SEC caliber type players, I believe.
Yeah.
Difference makers, yeah.
Well, do you see them emerging? Do you see them being in the same place Tennessee has been in the past couple, say, 3 years?
Yeah, I see Tennessee challenging Georgia, because the game against Georgia will be in Knoxville in November.
Yeah.
Tennessee has some tough ball games before that happens, though. They have to travel to Alabama, and that's going to be difficult, because the last time they beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, it's over 10 years for sure, because they broke that streak last year, 14, 15 years in a row. So they're going to find out about themselves when they travel to Tuscaloosa in October. But no, Alabama, Tennessee, right now they're probably about equal at this point. Like I say, Joe Milton, he's more an established quarterback for Tennessee at this point, I think. Even though he played a short time at the end of the season after Hendon Hooker was injured. Now Tyler Buckner coming in from Notre Dame, he hasn't played a lot of football, been a starter very much. So, but they're looking for him to probably take the position over, because they brought in the offensive coordinator of Notre Dame, Tommy Rees. So I don't think you travel from South Bend to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to sit on the bench, and you have your offensive coordinator with you in South Bend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Lots of things happening. A little bit longer, a little bit over a minute left in this segment. What do you want to tell the folks before you go?
Yeah, I would say on our show, we're going to be talking about the schedule, Don. We'll find out those teams, what rivalries are maintained, what new teams are on the schedule, and we're going to find out who feels that they're happy with the schedule, and then some teams will be unhappy, and some fan bases will not be pleased with the commissioner's announcement of their team schedule. So we're going to watch that with great anticipation, and we'll have some discussion. But Donna, once the games start, it doesn't matter. You have to win. Doesn't matter your schedule. You have to win. You have to win and compete. Yeah.
That's true. AP, thank you so much for being on the show as always.
Hey, thank you, Donna. Thank you so much for having me.
And you'll get a lot of AP on Fridays. You got the Football Friday at 2:00, and then at 4, and then you're also going to see him around 1:00 on Friday with this show right here. But again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna. I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter, Abundance Television syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. Thank you, AP, for being on the show.
Thank you, Donna. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.